AITA for embarrassing my sister's friend and making her feel unwelcome? My sister, cousin and a couple friends came over last night after work. My sister brought a friend of hers I'd only met a few times that I've never had an issue with. At one point I went to the bathroom and the ladies were in the living room, calmly enjoying wine. When I came out, my sister's friend was in the kitchen, arguing with my son. I asked her what she was doing. She said my son went into the kitchen to get food, and she told him to wait until I came out of the bathroom to ask me for permission. I stared at her for a second and then said, "Who the UCK are you? You don't live here." "He does." "Who are you to tell him he can't go in his own kitchen?" She looked surprised and said she was trying to be helpful. I repeated my question of why she thought it was okay to tell someone they can't use their own kitchen when she's a guest in someone else's house. She dodged the question and then brought up that she's a teacher, which isn't even relevant, and sometimes kids try to get around rules. I asked her what that has to do with anything. I then asked who even gave her permission to go in my kitchen. She said she followed my son in. I said, "So you think my son needs permission to go in his own kitchen, but you can go wherever you like in my house without invitation? So you have more rights here than he does?" She said she didn't feel welcome anymore and was leaving. She went back in the living room, grabbed her bag and walked out. My sister asked what happened, and I explained Thatch had a disagreement with my son. My cousin and some of the other ladies said they thought it was strange she followed him into the kitchen and had been wondering why she did that, and thought her motive was weird as hell. My sister and a couple other ladies said her behavior was perfectly normal and I was unnecessarily hostile to her. My cousin said, "But why would you confront a child you don't know instead of saying something to the aunt who's right here? That's so weird." Everyone but my sister acknowledged that part was weird, and we all moved on. Later, my sister confronted me privately and said she was upset I chased off her friend. She said she really likes this woman, and that I was way over the top in the way I spoke to her. I can be a little extra when it comes to defending my kid, so was I an asshole? AITA for not serving my husband leftovers. I have been off the last 4 days. So I finally had a chance to do some spring cleaning. I deep cleaned the whole house. Yes, this did take all 4 days. I did bathrooms, fans, oiled wood tables, opened and cleaned windows, everything. My husband sees I am off and I have had to serve him every meal since I am home. 90% of the time I don't mind. Yesterday I was tired and was making steaks for dinner, so I didn't feel like making a breakfast omelet too. He got upset and I ended up making both breakfast and dinner. Since I didn't want to fight, but he says I made a face. After dinner last night I packed up leftovers and made it clear that I would not be making anything tomorrow. Everyone agreed since I worked today. When he got off work this morning I served him something quick to eat. I have a hotel booked for this weekend for us. I was trying on clothing and packing he asked to heat up his leftovers. I said, "I told you yesterday I wasn't making anything today." He responded with, "You're going to make a problem over heating something up on my birthday month." I responded with, "I am tired," and explained yesterday you keep making problems with me over food. He turned it around and said, "No, you're making the problems over food. You just don't want to serve me anything anymore. Cancel the reservation, I'm not going anywhere. Thanks for ruining my birthday month." Now I did heat the leftovers, which of course he refused to eat. And the reservation is too late to cancel, so now I'm out money too. AITA for having a celebration dinner after my brother's divorce? My brother just got his divorce finalized. No one in the family liked his wife, she was not a nice person. I.e., she'd ask for ideas on what to spend his money on. Was the type of person that celebrated her birthday for 2 weeks and expected everyone to do the same. There were many arguments over that when people in our family didn't show up for each and every event she planned or wore the shirts she'd make for her birthday, interrupt when people were talking to talk about herself, go running to our mother anytime she asked for something and my brother told her no. The tipping point was when our mother was going through chemo. She had issues with her feet swelling and would elevate them while resting on the couch. The one time we all came to visit, my brother brought his wife and she just took the pillow out from under mom's feet to use it in the chair she was in because she was tired. Aside from expressing our concerns when they first started dating, we never said anything to him and tolerated her for his sake to not push him away and just griped amongst ourselves. Now they're divorced. The day that it was finalized, I took my brother out for dinner and invited some of our friends that hadn't been able to see him because of his wife. While we were at the restaurant, I toasted his new chapter in life. Someone said, "Real classy." and it turned out one of Sil's friends now works at the restaurant. We finished our dinner, left, went out for a while longer. I got home and while watching a show with my wife, my phone was going off with notifications. All messages from my ex-Sil chewing me out for celebrating their divorce. Since my wife wanted talk now who was messaging me, I showed her the messages and she's of the mind that while she understands why no one liked my ex-Sil, celebrating their divorce and toasting it was a Rick move, she thought I had been exaggerating when I said I was taking my brother out to celebrate. It's been a few days and my wife is still shaking her head at me over it. AITA? AITA for enrolling my stepdaughter in boarding school despite my husband's wishes? I, 29F, and married to Sam, 51M, and have one stepdaughter Laura, 16F. Laura's mom, Kate, died when she was a baby, but Sam has always kept her image alive in Laura's life by keeping Kate's family and friends in Laura's life. Kate went to a boarding school when she was a teen and even went back to teach there for a while. It was the best time of her life according to videos she took when she was there, and from what her family and friends told us, Laura has always wanted to go there when she was a kid, but we said no as it was too far, in a neighboring country, and she was too young. But now that she's older, she is more decided on going there. Sam keeps saying no. He's worried she might become distant from him living so far away, and that she might fall into bad company. I disagree. I think at 16 she's more than responsible enough, and it will only be for 2 years. He still kept saying no, and Laura was pressuring me to convince him. I kept being stuck between them. The deadline kept coming nearer, and Laura kept crying to me about it, begging me, so I decided to go ahead and apply. She needed me to pay the application fee, even though Sam was against it. Heck knew I was applying. She got in and I went ahead and paid the tuition. Sam is now very mad at me. He says I had no right and the mood around our house is intense. Kate's parents agree with me, as do my in-laws, but my Sil says I had no right. AITA? I don't know what to do. How do I convince him? Edit. I am Laura's legal guardian, so I can legally send her. Even though Laura doesn't call me mom. She and I have a very close relationship. To reason we are close is partly because I always respected Kate and her memory and never tried to take over. Kate is mom and will always be, but I'm important to Laura too. Please stop undermining my role in her life just because we're not related by blood. One reason I applied is that if I didn't, she would never get to apply again. The school doesn't accept students for older grades. So it was now or never. Sam still has till August to change his mind, but IFHE doesn't. Laura knows she has to stay. The other reason is that if I didn't, it would damage our relationship with Laura. She has wanted this since she could remember. She grew up watching videos Kate took when she was there. It's her dream to go where her mom went, to be close to her. It's where Kate spent the best years of her life, and the last years of her life, as she died only 4 months after moving to our current country and giving birth. If this ends up breaking Sam and me up, it's a cost I'm willing to take as long as Laura gets to live her dream. Edit 2. She hasn't gone yet. She doesn't go till Sept. I just applied because it was the last call for applications. Edit 3. Judgment is I'm the and fine. I accept it. I still would have done the same. This school was a massive part of Kate's life and identity. Kate spent 7 years of school there, went to a university close by, and worked at the school part-time. Then worked there full-time till she had to move to our country to give birth to Laura, and after 4 months she died. Kate's death traumatized Sam, and despite my insistence, he hasn't gone to therapy for it. Sam's reasons for not letting Laura go have all to do with his paranoia toward losing her like he lost Kate. I believe I have done the best decision for Laura, and these comments have only reinforced that. Most of the votes have more to do with hatred of step-parents and loot shaming me for our age difference than what was best for Laura. Edit 4. Logging off now. I will talk to Sam about him getting therapy. His paranoia has been an issue with him and Laura before. He even wanted to get the 360 app one time, but I said no. I have to do what's best for her. If I have to pick between her happiness and him, I will pick her every time. AITA for not childproofing my home against teenagers? I like to relax with THC. Lucky for me, it is legal where I live. I have small kids, so I keep my edibles in my room and my closet up high. Pun intended. My niece Lacey babysits for me all the time. Shay's a good girl and I like having her over to give her a break from her mom. My sister-in-law is a loving wife and mother, but her personal beliefs can be a little overwhelming. Last weekend Lacey was watching my kids and she had a craving for sweets. My kids told her where I keep my stash of candy, that I don't like to share. The poor dummy went and took some of my sour gummy edibles as well as some of my regular candy that I don't share with my stinking kids. When I got home, the kids were asleep and Lacey was on the couch staring at her phone and trying to use it as a TV remote. I called my brother and told him I would be late so Lacey would be spending the night. It isn't a problem with us and it isn't an uncommon situation. In the morning I had a talk with her about THC and how it wasn't the best idea to use it a lot when you were young. She asked a lot of questions and apologized for taking my candy without permission. Like I said, she is a good kid and her mom has drilled some weird beliefs into her. She told her mom what happened. Her mom lost it on me. How I'm a drug addict and I should be in jail. That I need to childproof my home if I'm going to hobby narcotics in my home. She is banning Lacey from babysitting for me. AITA?